Hello all, welcome back. I'm very, very excited about this one. I mean, when we talk about International Rugby League, there is literally no fixture that is bigger than this one. Australia and New Zealand. New Zealand and Australia in this instance, it is being played across the ditch. And I want to make one thing abundantly clear right from the outset. I may be Australian. I don't have a Kiwi bone in my body, but today, I am a Kiwi. I am going to be well and truly going for the team in black and white today. Good to see you all there in the chat. Tyker Walker with his Kiwi flags flying it high. We've got Caleb saying, I'm making an NRL game on Scratch right now. That's crazy. Love the creativity of that. Rugby 101 says, hey Leaguie, I got a Kangaroos jersey for my birthday. Well, I'm very happy you've got an International Rugby League jersey, but today we are supporting the Kiwis, or at least I am supporting the Kiwis. Alex says the women's game was so good, I didn't get to watch it, which I was very sad about. I actually know nothing about it. I've been very, very busy. But just looking through the two sides at the moment now, Fahu White, the young rooster, comes in to start in the front row for the Kiwis, pushing Griffin Neem over to the bench, but otherwise no other changes. JR Pizzas up the Kiwis, well and truly, agreed for sure. Krishan says, Leaguey, there is literally heaps of Kiwi fans and Kangaroos fans at the stadium. I can see on the coverage. It's very, very cool. Aussie edits, what's the prediction for this game? I think Australia will win. I think the fact that they've already played a game together is going to have a big impact. Maybe, 30, maybe not 30, 26 points to 18, let's say. But I definitely hope it'll be the Kiwis. As you guys know, I love International Rugby League, right? I think possibly my favorite all-time International Rugby League game was last time these two sides played, and the Kiwis beat the Kangaroos 30-0. That was a beautiful thing to see. I was very, very happy. So if we see something like that today, good stuff. But I'm just happy to see a stadium there in New Zealand absolutely packed out. The crowd there looks unreal. We've obviously seen brilliant attendances this year in Auckland for the Warriors, but this is being played up at Christchurch. So to see that level of attendance for a city that do want to get an NRL team at some stage, that's very cool. Arlo says go Kiwis, Daniel says go Kiwis, and I say go the Kiwis. So hopefully, as opposed to yesterday's coverage of the game, we won't have any problems. I don't think we should. But geez, that Kiwis jersey looks so cool. It looks so cool. Rugby 101 says, I had to stop watching your new vid to watch this. That's okay. That's the only acceptable excuse to stop watching one of my videos. JR Pete says it's a better attendance than Super Rugby and NPC. It is. I'm very happy with this attendance, especially considering it's a New Zealand side that's under strength. I'm so excited to see how Keanu Keaney goes today. It's such a step up for him. We've seen him do so well in the NRL, but this is literally against the best of the best. So we'll see what he can deliver. God, that Kiwis jersey's hot. It's hot. I mean, I almost want to buy it for myself, and I well and truly do not have the money to do so. So, Rugby 101 says, Crosland at hooker, your thoughts? Fundamentally, they didn't really have another option. JMK, Jeremy Marshall-King, was injured. They could, like last year, they had to go with Kieran Foran, which was even more stopgap than Crossland. We obviously saw Crossland be a half towards the end of this season with the Knights, but he was a very good hooker for them last year particularly, and they do view him as their long-term hooker. They've told Jaden Brayley he's free to explore his options elsewhere, so I think it's a solid option. Aussie edits, will there be a clock during the game again? No, not. I think we've retired the clock. It lasted exactly one half of rugby league. It was too difficult to be consistently looking at the clock, and I felt that in times where I was like thinking, are they going to stop it? I'd kind of like stop talking a bit, and then it would take away from the live stream itself. As we see SJ there on screen, he's happy. He's soaking it in. Getting a little bit emotional, I reckon. Yeah, he is. Geez, I mean, if you have a heart, you want to see SJ do well in this game. We didn't think we'd see him again. Lancaster says that man's offensively good looking. I mean, I think that jersey takes him from... It takes him up a couple of points, that's for sure. That makes 8s into 10s and 6s into 8s. But he loved it. For the Haka guys, I'm not going to talk through it. I'm just going to let you guys enjoy it without my unnecessary input. So yeah, let's sit back and enjoy one of the greatest spectacles in sport worldwide. It's just awesome. It's just so awesome. It's hard to put into words how cool something like that is. And I talk so much when I'm talking to people who don't follow rugby league, or who specifically who follow a different sport. I grew up alongside football fans, soccer fans. I use things like that as a case as to why our sport's the greatest on earth. Other sports don't have it. They don't have it. Aussie Edits, yes, this is a new mic. It was on the stream yesterday, and it was in the new video I released today, but we're moving up in the world. We've got a mic. It's green. I paid extra for it to be green because I wanted it to be specifically on brand with, obviously, the Leaguie. So, yeah, next step. I mean, there's a few ideas I have of things I want to upgrade, but I am also going to get a more obviously green suit, because apparently none of you guys can tell that this one's green. Maybe, I mean, I've got a new light just up here. Maybe that shows it's a bit more green. I don't know. But regardless, we are moving up in the world, and that Haka was pretty awesome. JRP says Hot Pig Fish is going to start a riot. I spoke about it in my 2025 signings video, but to have the captain of New Zealand now move to the New Zealand Warriors, potentially captaining them. I mean, Tohu Harris is a very good captain, but he's obviously had injury struggles. So I think a lot of the time Fisher Harris will be captaining them. That's awesome for the Warriors. He's going to be loved. He's going to be an absolute national hero. And a big part of that is going to be this game in New Zealand, captaining them. Can he lead them like he did last year to a result? CNK, the Warrior, playing at 5'8", which is going to be interesting. I mean, him and SJ obviously have a combination at the Warriors, but in different positions, with Nickel Clockstar playing fullback. So I'm curious to see how that dynamic will play out today. Is his ball playing? I mean, he's a good ball playing fullback, but is his ball playing good enough to be a 5'8"? We'll see. This is cool. This is cool. This is very cool. My favorite fixture in rugby league is Tonga versus Samoa. This might be second. It's as good as it gets. And to the people who say that we don't have a competitive international game, I mean, obviously this is the pinnacle of it, but you have a watch of this. Australia trying to avenge a 30-0 loss last year. New Zealand trying to reassert their dominance here on home soil. It's a Christchurch Apollo Project Stadium, packed out crowd. And if you do want to sync up with me, kickoff is now. So Haka with the kickoff, caught there by Mitch Moses, and it's big Lindsay Collins into the thick of it. Caleb says, I need to have mustard ice cream in my lifetime. No, you don't. NRL Head, good to see you here, my friend. And FanMade, good to see a lot of the regulars here for this one, the big game of the Pacific Championships. Probably won't be the only time we see these two sides play. I'd expect that they're going to be playing each other in the final. But if New Zealand lose this one, then they're under a lot of pressure to beat Tonga next week. If Australia lose this one, then they're really hoping that Tonga can't pull off an upset next week against New Zealand. So it's a big game. Good to see the greatest username in YouTube history. My chip danced on my head in Melbourne on a storm. Good to see you're here in time. Lancaster says, to be fair, I think we'll see CNK and SJ link up the same way they normally did at the Wars. CNK was often his second receiver on their sweep plays. Yeah, that's in terms of their combination, I would expect it to turn out that way, but then obviously it depends, because Stacey Jones is, I believe, still an assistant at the Warriors, and he's obviously the head coach of this side. So it just means they can't play a Warriors, potentially Stacey Jones brand of footy. And with Keeney obviously out the back of being a very different kind of fullback in himself, we'll see how that turns out. So last tackle, there's a crowd bays for a high shot on Keanu Keeney. SJ puts up his first kick of the game. And it's caught by Coates. So one of the Kiwis was flying through. I'm not sure who it was, but missed out on him. Krishan says, Leaguie, I got my Kiwis t-shirt on today, and I put my Kiwis socks on today, and I got my Kiwis scarf. Man, he's kitted out. He's got all the Kiwi stuff. That's unreal. Oh, geez, and JRP taking into the thick of it. Dare I say, from the screen to the ring. I do not like that KSI's new song has become part of Leaguie folklore. That is just not good. Aussie Edit says, Leaguie, you need international stickers in the background like you do for the clubs. I will be expanding on my background next year, and that's definitely something I'm going to be looking at. So penalty now to Australia, who put up a kick. Presumably it's an escort. Matt Timoko can't believe it, and I think we've had a instance of dissent, so they're being marched even further. Escort by Matt Timoko, they say. Krishan says, Leaguie, I thought Kiwis would do the Haka. They did do the Haka. You must have got here a bit too late. Fanmade says, this is my 4th live here. Well, here's to many more, hopefully. Lancaster, Keeney's such a great footy type, tiny but fast, with absolutely no hesitation to yeet himself at defenders 4 times his weight and still run over them. Yeah, he just has no sense of self-preservation, and has got the talent to make that super, super dangerous. So I'm very excited for his future with the Kiwis and the Titans. So it's the Kangaroos on the attack. Moses goes across to Angus Crichton, who does palm off Isaiah Papali'i fairly easily, but is eventually wrapped up there. Grant across through to Moses. Isaiah Yo. He has to stop due to an obstruction. Green Cobra is in the chat, and I'll talk about Green Cobra a bit when the Kangaroos aren't on the attack. Grant across did a little bit of a juggle from Angus Crichton, but he does catch it and get through, and that was pretty simple. I'm gonna be honest, that was an easy one from the Kangaroos. Angus Crichton. I know, like, this is the kind of thing I said in at the start of this, that the Kangaroos have played a game together obviously already, so that's an advantage that they have. A little thing there, that's like a defensive communication between two players. Unfortunately, it was right on Sean Johnson, who came in a little bit too tight potentially there. And it is the Kangaroos with first blood. I'm going to take this little break in play just to talk about one of my most loyal viewers, most long-time viewers, Green Cobra, who today released a video about me. And I'll tell you what, not only was it a really good video, really like a good effort, particularly he's 13 years of age. Like, it's a really, really cool effort to be doing that at 13. And it was so overwhelming. Like, I don't even know. Oh, Hank, sorry. I'm gonna get back to that. I think Angus Crichton's lost this ball here. Are we gonna have an inverse of last time the Kangaroos played, where we're gonna have a knock on, and instead of me sinking into my chair, oh, am I gonna have to be getting up out of my chair? Let's go! Oh my god, it's the sequel, but it's the other way around. Angus, what have you done? Let's see here. It was definitely coming away from the hands. Is there separation? Yes, there's separation. Yes! Let's go. Let's go. Hell yeah, it's the inverse of Tonga. Unreal. Get those points off the board. Angus, I'm sorry. I do like Angus Crichton. And this is probably the most un-Australian moment I've had in my entire life, but let's go. Okay. Anyway, I'm just going to finish saying what I did about Green Cobra. That video, like, it's hard to put into words how grateful you can be to someone who spends a week making a video about you. It's crazy. So, yeah, words won't do it justice. But thank you, Cobra. That's absolutely unreal. And it means the world to me and my friends and family. So thank you. Lancaster, what kind of numpty bombs that? I reckon it was a numpty who got through the line a lot more easily than he expected, juggled the ball, and just kind of lost concentration there at the end. Angus is a very cool customer, and that was a little bit too cool. So after a bit of a half break there from Keanu Keeney, now it'll be the last tackle for the Kiwis, just inside 20 meters. That kid is so awesome. Oh, I want to buy one of those. Sean Johnson puts the ball up, trying to find, it looks like CNK, just knocked on quite easily there, and Dylan Edwards works it out of his own end. Fanmate says, should I keep singing Thick of It in the chat? You can say whatever you would like to say in the chat. If you want to post the entire lyrics of a song, that's more engagement for me, so I'm perfectly happy with that. Jordan says, love Green Cobra's energy. Great to see Leaguie getting some love. Green Cobra, I enjoyed the video. It was awesome. I mean, as I mentioned, yeah, 13 years of age. I'm 22. If you keep that up, keep making YouTube videos for the next 9 years, you're going to be an infinitely better YouTuber than I am. So, yeah, just keep at it, really. NRL Head says, Leaguie, did you watch my new short? I saw, was it like I Disagree? Was that what it was? That was, yeah, about Thick of It. I saw that. If not, then I haven't seen it yet. Lancaster says, nah, he went for the smug single hand put down and paid for it. Dive, yeah, fair. We've got the Kangaroos put up a kick there, and Air Lomax, one of the best aerial players in the entire game, running through the middle, caught that one, but didn't have the support on the offload. That was going to be an unreal moment. And now everyone is just singing the KSI song. See you back later. Melbourne says, only time I'm supporting Dylan Edwards and Isaiah Yeo when I did not support them in the grand final. Yeah, no, that's valid. Not surprising you wouldn't support them in the grand final, but you can, I mean, if you want to switch allegiances, James Fisher-Harris is captain of the Kiwis, just saying. Zaponica says, please, I want to watch live. If you're asking if I can show the live broadcast, I cannot. I do not have the rights to it. It's a watch-along. So caught now by Xavier Coates. And Dearden gets it out to Hamiso Tabuafido, just working it out from their end. Lancaster says, Lomax is an AFL player that got lost and wandered into a different competition Zorro style. Yeah, his aerial ability is crazy. It's so good. And Jordan, yeah, the timer just didn't quite work out. So I retired that at halftime yesterday. And we won't be bringing it back, at least for now. And up the west, as your laptop's behind, it's a delay through YouTube. I'm watching it same time as you, but the live stream comes in later. So caught by Keanu Keeney, who isn't die wondering, but wrapped up there quite comprehensively by Angus Crichton. Looking to, I reckon, obviously make up for that bomb try. So now across Isaiah Papali'i. And yeah, Melbourne says, you can't say anything, by the way, because I'm pretty sure no racist stuff. Yeah, I mean, obviously, no, none of that in my chat. Not in my backyard. So on the 4th, I think I just heard a call of 6 again, did I? Yes, I did. So the Kiwis are going to be in good attacking position if they can hold on to the ball here. Nafahu White now through Crossland. SJ goes short to Papali'i. I'm curious to see Papali'i over the course of this Pacific Championships, because I'm expecting really big things of him next year at the Panthers. But we'll see whether he's determined to get the best out of himself in this series. So Tarpany now up to the 20-meter line. 2 more to go. Fisher Harris couldn't quite find the man outside him. Does offload to Crossland. Finds Nickel Klukstad now. Stepping and jinking. Wrapped up by Trebojevic eventually. So now on the last. Crossland goes to SJ. Kicks across field. Trying to find Asako. And it's caught very, very well there by Xavier Coates. But the Kiwis have the Kangaroos exactly where they want them in terms of field position. Lancaster says Crossland's giving good service. Keep this up. He might lock that back up 9. Yeah, his service it's always been quite crisp. It's just sort of his decision making on when to run, when not to run, that sometimes lets him down at hooker. But I definitely think he's got the potential to become a very solid 9 for both the Kiwis and for the Knights. So now Carrigan goes across, taking the ball up to near halfway, just behind it, and Moses with Fisher Harris right on him, rushed the kick, and that, I tell you what, that was James Fisher Harris who caused that to happen. Fisher Harris was right up in his grill, and you could see Moses kind of looked up a bit, and you've got, like, the sun was blocked out by JFH. So yeah, I mean, look, a bit of rust there for sure, but credit to the Kiwi captain in that instance to me. Short across to Warbrick. That's a nice little run. And Tiger Walker had sushi for lunch. That is my favorite. Absolutely brilliant. That food is just perfection. So Nafahu White takes it up near the 30. Now Crossland, a flat ball at best out of dummy half there. Now across to Kano Kini, finding Pedahiku, who's found his way a little bit inside the field. I'm curious as well as to how Hiku goes. Obviously, we've seen him in the Super League this season. Hasn't played at this level for quite some time. And there, just as we praised Crossland's service, Keeney jumped out of the way of that one, and they've lost about 10 meters on that play. But nice little run there from Timoko. Gets a bit of ground back. So now on the last. Crossland, and SJ is the one definitely who's doing the attacking kicking. Is that a bit deep? No, it's okay. And Edwards gets it, and again, right on their try line. So Kiwi is doing well with field position here. And that contact on Xavier Coates, not letting him make any ground whatsoever. So they're determined here, the Kiwis in defense. I mean, considering the little error that they made in that attacking play there, in that attacking set, excuse me, to have Australia where they currently are on the 4th tackle is very impressive. Lancaster says NZ feet much on top here. Angus's error being a huge loss. They are well and truly dominating the physicality of this so far. Look at the amount of space Keanu Keeney has to run into there. Takes it up over the 40. And Warbrick's had a few decent little runs himself, coming out of quote-unquote trouble just to open up the set. And we've got a penalty now to the Kiwis. Both players had their hands up in the air. Michael Ennis is calling for a challenge, and I think he will challenge it. I've got to say, it did seem like one of those ones where when both players just do that, it seems to be that more often than not, it has just been a lost ball. So we'll see how this goes. Will be a very disappointing let-off from the Kiwis here if this ball's just cleanly lost. It doesn't look like Yo's hands are anywhere near the ball, really. Yeah, no, he's cleared that quite obviously. Must be said, that's not a great call there from... it'd probably be the touch judge who actually made that call, not Ashley Klein. But yeah, that seems pretty clear cut, doesn't it? Right, they're Okay, unsuccessful challenge. Never mind. What do I know about refereeing? Moving his leg. I've got to say, I think that's quite harsh. It did not... It looked like a pretty loose carry to me. Lancaster agrees. But New Zealand got away with one there. And that's not even just the home crowd doing it. That's Gerard Sutton in the bunker. Tiger Walker says sucked in ruse. So it'll be a very good attacking opportunity here for the Kiwis. And last night we saw a side draw first blood and then concede the next, like 56 points, I think it was. If New Zealand do score first here, hopefully that won't be the case. But this is, you'd have to think, against a side like the Kangaroos, you're not going to get a heap of chances like this one. So across now, Nafahu White out the back to Sean Johnson with Scott Sorensen going underneath him. Crossland across finds White, who just has a go himself. He's an exciting young player, Nafahu. Crossland across to Sean Johnson, finding Papali'i underneath him. One more to go in this set. Are they going to get it to Johnson again? They will. Johnson will kick again. It's a hard kick. And there was a chance for Warburg. That kick had some venom on it. It had some force. And that was an interesting one. You know, well in goal. I doubt Johnson just miskicked that. But he forced Lomax into a situation where he just had to play it dead. See, Warburg, he made the motion to catch it. So are they going to go short here? But it is, I mean, a domination of field position. They do go short. And is it going to be too wide? It is too wide. Is that a penalty in international rules? No, they're just ruling a play the ball. Because it was touched. I'm not sure if international rules have changed in that regard. But Australia touched it regardless. And I think it must have gone the distance. So tackled in opposition half, they're showing 16-1. Really, that won't continue throughout the course of this game. New Zealand are going to want to put points on the board sooner rather than later, having dominated this first 15 minutes. So Johnson, a lot of this just seems to be they're just finding players underneath the halves without really setting up attacking set plays. We'll see whether they really fire a shot here. And it's knocked on there by Joe Tarpany. So that's disappointing there. It's got to be honest. I've got to be honest. Melbourne says, yo, Leaguie, did you go to Telstra Tower before it was closed off? I assume you mean. I've not been to Telstra Tower before it was closed off, but I have been to Telstra Tower. Green Cobra says, Leaguie, I was trying to donate $1 and I can't. I probably got banned from donating. By the way, you can be banned from donating. Really? That's interesting. I mean, I certainly didn't do that. But as I've said before, like you said like yesterday that you get like $10 in pocket money a fortnight. I don't want to be taking your money. You use that money on you. That's what it's for. But thank you regardless. I'm now just trying... before it was shut up, says Melvin. I'm now just trying to distinguish in my chat between who's typing out KSI's lyrics and who's saying something about the game. Lancaster says as we see Lindsay Collins bursting through, no one in front of him, and there we go. That one they won't take off them. Big run from the Australian front rower, and that is disappointing because Australia have not had the field position in this game. New Zealand have had the territory, but as I was saying, when they were attacking, they weren't really asking substantive questions. And now that's twice where we've seen a player just go straight through the defensive line for the Kiwi. But that was just a big, hard run there from Collins, the Queensland and Sydney Roosters front rower. I'm not sure what Keanu Keeney was doing so far up in the line. I mean, granted, he wasn't going to stop Collins. He's a small man. But he was well and truly up in the line there. Yeah, Lancaster says the Wires aren't the perfect one-to-one to the Kiwis, but much like the Broncos to Queensland, it's an indicator. This very much has 2024 Wires early position dominance for no points swinging into a fade vibes. Well, you said that before this try was scored, and it turned out to be a pretty good prediction. Cobra says, I can donate, I can only do a super sticker. Yeah, so stickers are interesting, and I'm not sure I completely understand them with YouTube. I know on Twitch you can make custom stickers. I'm assuming the same must be true for YouTube. I wanted to make like little custom stickers for each club so that you guys, like, I don't know, Caleb, who's a Cowboys fan, can send like a little cowboy logo or something. If any of you guys happen to know whether that's possible or not, let me know in the chat, because I haven't been able to find a way to do it. So Lomax with the easiest kick of his career right in front of the sticks here. And he makes it 6-0 to the Australian Kangaroos. And this doesn't reflect the way this game's played out so far. The Kiwis are going to be pretty disappointed with that. And alright, it says, is Think of It your favourite song, Leaguie? Absolutely not. My favourite song... Sorry, I'm just moving the camera a bit. My favourite song is a song that you've all actually heard many times before, because it's my outro music to my videos. So that's my favourite song. Tiger Walker says you can do it if you have channel memberships. Okay, that makes sense. I will set that up eventually, but I before doing memberships or a Patreon or anything, I wanted to be able to provide something of value, and yeah, haven't been able to figure out exactly what that is yet. Lancaster, I've been shockingly on point with my predictions lately. Hopefully it's just me coming to understand the game more and not a run of luck that will turn horrifically and ruin 2025 tipping. Hey, I mean, absolutely nothing wrong with being able to predict rugby league well. I am, frankly, pretty bad at that for someone who calls himself the Leaguie, so maybe I'll be taking some of your advice on board. And okay, we've got our first donation of the chat, and of course, who else is going to be but Green Cobra giving me even more of his pocket money? Thank you, mate. That's brilliant. And you've got the sticker there. Yeah, I'm very curious. Obviously, Tiger Walker said, yeah, custom stickers will come as a result of memberships. I'm curious as to why that's the case, but anyway. I will eventually one day open up memberships for the channel and create some custom stickers for you guys to use in live streams. I think that'd be pretty cool. But thank you, Cobra. As unreal as always. So ball played there by Timoko, and it was a little bit unconventional. Looks like Phoenix Crossan was held out of that a little bit, but now, and Keanu Keeney, okay, over halfway, running with determination, and we've got a penalty here. Drawing that penalty for, I'm assuming, high contact. Keeney, I mean, I mentioned earlier that I'm very excited to see how he goes in this game, and he's living up to it 100% right now. He's running with determination. He's not overawed whatsoever by the occasion, and he's drawing high contact, which is not something you should try to do, but his small stature is creating penalties for the New Zealand side. So Lancaster, oh my god, I agree. I love retro jerseys so much, and this jersey just has a real retro vibe about it. It's so awesome. Particularly given, like, black and white, it's not an exciting color scheme, so for them to have done something as cool as this is just, man, it's nice. Krishan says, Leaguie, don't worry, Kiwis will make a comeback. I hope so. Well, they've got a chance here. A full attacking set. Now inside the 10 meters through Nufahu White. Crossland across to Keeney. There's a bit of a gap there, and it closes a little bit. Couldn't quite get through. So Hiku at dummy half finds Johnson. Now across to Joe Tarpany. Offloading. Okay, there's a bit of room here. Nickel Klukstad short to Skorenson. I thought there might have been a bit of an opportunity if he went out the back. Crossland. Across to Tarpany. Can't get the ball away. 1 to go. Surely the Kiwis have got to get something. Johnson, go, and it's too wide to Keeney. Isako under pressure, and he'll be wrapped up there. That's pretty disappointing. That's pretty disappointing. But look, I mean, we saw at the start of last game, it took a long time for Australia to really get their attack to click. They scored an intercept, and then it wasn't until fairly deep into the second half from memory that they managed to score through Tabuai Fido. So that's what New Zealand are currently going through, essentially. As we see, driven back is Zach Lomax there. That's good intent from the Kiwis. Oh, and NRL says the Kings lost. That's a shame. I'm sorry, man. Cobra says $26 left on the money. I can donate if you want. Brother, keep your money. Spend it on whatever you prefer to spend it on. But thank you. And yeah, Melbourne, don't worry about the mistype. That's all good. So Dearden across, finding Trebojevic, who is definitely playing a roaming role in this game. Harry Grant, they do draw a penalty for high contact it is. Johnson's very confused. Lancaster says, I remember how often teams were clocking Keeney dead in the skull by the last quarter of the season. Shows his ability, but it sucks to see. Reminds me when he got arm barred in the throat against the Drags. That'll happen, obviously, with smaller guys, just physically speaking. But yeah, it's a problem. It's definitely a problem, and it's like over the course of his career, like, yeah, he'll be drawing penalties, but he's got to find a way to work around that. Yeah, I agree with Tiger Walker. Spend the money on Zinger boxes. That seems like a sound investment. So Australia now, an opportunity to make it 12-0. Yo, across to Moses. The ball came free a little bit there. Passed into Murray, and to be honest, I thought that all went backwards, but they've lost their challenge, so opportunity gone there for the Kangaroos. Caleb says the Cowboys should play in their retro jersey. It's so good with the horns. I agree completely. On the Cowboys, I don't know how many of you would have seen, they've released their logo for next season, special anniversary logo. And I mean, Caleb, I'm interested to know your thoughts as a Cowboys supporter, but I've spoken to a few other Cowboys fans, and I'm just really not a fan of it, to be honest. I think they've taken out the yellow, which gives so much life and vibrance to the logo, and they've put 30 on top of it, which is just way too big. They look like the North Queensland 30s. So that's my personal opinion. I just don't think it's very exciting. Hopefully their jersey for next season features a lot more yellow, because if they have that current logo with, I guess, that kind of style, which is like mostly blue, then it won't stand out all that much. Kayla thinks the logo is good. Yeah, I mean, obviously each to their own. But yeah, I'm very much in favor of the Cowboys ditching the star and just going with the horns. But that's not the way I would go about it personally. Like Lancaster says, if there's anything that this year was best for, it was the return of the jersey collar. I would mandate them. They're so nice. So Johnson, kicking the ball up high on the fifth, is very much going for Coates, which it does make sense. They've got Isako out on that wing. He's a good aerial threat. And Lomax is obviously a very, talented aerial player. But Will Warbrick's pretty good in himself. I would back Warbrick against Lomax, a decent chunk of the time. So it's interesting that Johnson seems to have consistently kind of gone that way. Trebojevic outside, getting around the outside of Timoko, but eventually wrapped up with the help of Sorensen. Melbourne says the jersey that I hate the most is the 2023 Storm away jersey. Like, it's so bad. I'm trying to picture that. Was it a white one? I can't remember. Cobra says I have a short, but it's about you. May I please upload? Absolutely, you can upload whatever you like about me. No worries. So Australia then put a kick up, and they are targeting Lomax. Warbrick stands up to it that time. And yeah, Tiger and both Arlo, I agree. The 30 takes up too much of the logo for sure. White with purple, says Melbourne on Storm. Yeah, I think I can picture it in my head. It wasn't nice. I remember my initial reaction to it was that it wasn't nice. Yeah, I sort of dislike just teams who have their home jersey and then their away jersey is just a white version of it. Like the Melbourne Storm have done that a lot recently. I'm trying to think of other teams that specifically do that. The Cowboys have a little bit more white on their jersey, but that's not so bad. The Roosters do it. They just have a white away jersey. It just seems a little bit lazy to me. Raiders actually as well. They have just a white away jersey. Which I would say is probably one of my least favorite jerseys of any team. The Raiders away. So yeah, I agree. Tiger says take lessons from the Tigers on how to do an anniversary logo. Well, yeah, that's the other thing. I don't think 30 is like that exciting a milestone. To me, 25 is bigger than 30. So yeah, here we go. Melvin says pure white with a single vertical purple stripe to make it worse. Big fat red head logo. So Kiwi's attacking, asking a little more of a question there, but Keeney's shut down quite quickly by Hamiso Tabuai Fido. So on the 4th, just outside the 20. Now Fahu White goes himself. He's having a decent game to start with. Crossland. Across through Johnson. Short to Papali'i. Gets the ball away. Keeney with the quick hands. Hiku and it's Sako in the corner. Here we go, boys. Here we are. That was a very, very good try. Lancaster's correct. The quick catching and passing from the Kiwis players, that was very, very good. As Tiger Walker says, I don't know whether this is culturally insensitive for a white Aussie to say, but chee-hoo! Let's go. Hell yeah. Update that scoreboard. 6-4. Keanu Keeney just playing his role as a fullback to be there waiting for the offload just in case Papali'i does get it away. On the 5th tackle, going short to a back rower, not much was going on. That was very much down to Papali'i getting that offload away and Keeney being there to catch it and very quickly identify, I've just got to get this ball out wide. And good effort there from Hiku to draw and pass. Isaiah Yo's not happy about something. I'm always nervous now when I celebrate a try and they show the referee, but I don't think this is one of those times. Let's go. That crowd is up and about. Try confirmed. Okay, good. We've got it. Let's go. Chee-hoo. Chee-hoo. Unless that's a specific set play, I'm not sure about the decision from Johnson to just go short to the back rower there. But, I mean, as soon as Papali'i caught it, he was looking to get it away. So I am inclined to think that was probably a set play. So Osako from the sideline, we've seen him kick them from way out of here for the Dolphins about 1,000,000 times. So I don't expect him to struggle that much. But obviously they are always tough from the sideline. So we'll see what he can do. Sums it up. And geez, that collar looks so good. Hits it. Oh, and it's good. It's wonderful. 6-all. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we have a game on our hands. What a kick that was. It's a bit of a rarity. I'm not sure if this would have happened in the international game before, both kickers being wingers. That's one for maybe Random Stats Guy or Crazy Rugby League Facts to have a little look at, if either of those two are watching. When have both conversion takers been wingers before in International Rugby League? Tiger says, I hope Leaguie doesn't sink into his chair today. I absolutely agree. That would not be nice. Lancaster Keeney, best on ground so far, followed by Lomax. I agree. Keeney has been very impressive. So as Lomax, so as I mentioned, Nafahu White, been pretty impressed with him. I feel a lot of these Australia players haven't really had the opportunity yet to show what they can do, because it feels like the Kiwis have just had the ball the whole time. I'd be curious to know the possession stats right now. Kinko says, Leahy, what do you think of the rip Leahy at the end of the vid? That was very funny. I watched that video here with both of my housemates and we all laughed at that point. That was pretty funny. Melbourne says, I spilled hot chocolate on my rugby ball and it looks horrible. I'm sorry, that is devastating. I've got a ball here myself, which actually I've never featured in a video. It's flat as anything, but it's up on my shelf. There we go, it's Leaguie colours. Nice little lime green. Not hot chocolate brown. Johnson kicking the ball up, caught again by Coates, and it looks like New Zealand aren't really trying to contest those kicks, but they're just looking for Coates to come down and then shut them down, soak up a tackle while Australia are coming out of their own end. I like that idea. Tyke says, where's the cars books? The cars books are there. Don't worry, the cars books play their role. I mean, my camera right now is on a tripod that is on a cars book that is on an Xbox. But it's just the best camera angle. So, Cumbria and Mackham, good to see you here, slept in. After our win against Oxford United, I do not blame you. We're top of the league. We are living life. So Keeney catching the ball, and again, he has a lot of space, running into the line. Jeez, he's running with some serious intent so far this game. Serious intent. So Nickel cooks that in at dummy half, goes across to Warbrick. And on the third, they're already up right near halfway. So cooks that just in at dummy half for a fair bit so far. Cumbery Mackham says, go Kiwis. Hell yes. And Cobra says I should do a setup vid. It would be the most pathetic setup vid any YouTuber has ever done. I will eventually get like a lot of really cool gear. All the money I earn from my YouTube channel goes straight back into reinvesting into that channel. So once I earn enough money for, say, a good PC, professional, like, you know, studio lighting or whatever, that's when I would do like setup thing. You should do a house tour. There's not much house to speak of. I live in a little share house flat, so yeah. Lancaster saw a good comment on the Reddit thread. Mal seems to have Deadwoods looking at more a ball played Teddy roll than his usual simple hard running. He was sort of confused between run pass when he has the ball. Yeah, that's an interesting observation. I'm to be honest, I'm not great at picking up on a lot of things like that. It's very much a skill I'm learning, but it has. We haven't seen those, you know, big strong runs from Edwards so much in this game. So Grant getting in behind the ruck there and kicking forward. It was approaching the sideline, but will be played there by Keeney and Isako. So yeah, this in terms of the physicality, I have been very impressed so far by both sides. New Zealand, I mean, I spoke about their attacking cohesion as we see a knock on there. Papali'i looked quite confused. I'm not sure if they might challenge this. They're having a bit of a discussion about it. Yeah, and Sean Johnson says challenge. So they're rolling a Sean Johnson knock on there at dummy half. I'm not sure. It's a bit of a tough one. I'm not sure his hand ever actually left the football. I am very biased, obviously, but yeah. Melbourne says, yo, do you do collabs, or do you want to, like, it's okay if you don't? I've never thought about doing a collab. Yeah, as long as, like, as they roll, Sean Johnson always has a hand on the ball. Let's go up the Kiwis. Hell yeah. Yeah, in terms of collabs, I'm very definitely open to them, just as long as, you know, there's something I can offer the other channel as well as something the other channel can offer me. So yeah, definitely open to it for sure. So here we go, run number 2. Johnson catches that one quite cleanly there at dummy half. Teo says, it's looking like a pretty close game. Can't wait to see which side will end up prevailing. It is a close game. Australia are very similar to their game against Tonga, where the field position and physicality is not necessarily in their favour, but they've taken their attacking opportunities very well. But only 8 minutes to go now in this half. So it has flown by, at least for me. I don't know about you guys specifically. Lancaster says he's had a few hard runs. This is on Edwards, but he's throwing the ball more than normal. He's actually up in the flat attack line. As it is that man now, Edwards with the ball. Yeah, that is something. I mean, I've always had a little bit of a controversial opinion on Meninga as a coach. Obviously, he had an incredible run with the Maroons, but you look at that side, it was like unreal. I am somewhat skeptical of his ability to create a game plan around the players he has, rather than try to mold the players he has to his existing game plan. And that would suggest that he's probably trying to get Edwards, as you say, to play in a style that suits his game plan a bit more. There are a lot of messages in the chat. I might miss some of them. I'm just trying to focus on the game a bit as well, obviously. So Lomax there with a knock on, jumping up for a catch. And it sort of looked like it would be play on there for a moment, but Ashley Klein catches the play, joins him back. Oh, okay, we've got a heap of collab offers from, I can count like 3 or 4 different people there. Yeah, look, obviously, I just, as I said, very much open to it if the right opportunity, idea comes along, and if, yeah, we can each sort of offer each other benefit if it's a win-win situation, for sure. NRL Head says, why don't NRL players have their name on their back? That's a whole big thing that comes up every now and then. I think it would be really cool. It would be an added cost. And And a lot of NRL clubs, the issue is they put sponsorship there where you'd normally put a name. But on the international level, I mean, you can see New Zealand, they have Sky where you would logically put a name. But it would be really cool. I love that it's something that we do in Origin. I think it's so cool. So ball put up. The ball just bounces, but they're going to rule that Edwards was taken out, and I have to agree there. Petehiku, I think, running away there with his leg between his tail. Tail between his legs. Gary has to stop talking rubbish about Meninga. Where's that coming from? It's not talking rubbish. It's just an opinion that I have that I'm not criticizing him as a coach. I'm just making an observation. Obviously, yeah, as I say, he had that unreal run with Queensland. I had to grow up through it. But I am somewhat skeptical of. I think people maybe overrate him as a coach a bit. So yeah, no, it's nothing serious. Lancaster says it's not a coincidence that Mal only does rep coaching and only tends to win when he's got an overwhelming advantage in players. As Travojevic gets through the line, finds Lomax outside, and Keeney. I tell you what, I think Lomax is very confident about getting this ball down. The referee's given it. I'd want to have a little look at his arm here. I bank Lomax. I back him for sure. He's a good finisher, and that was a very confident reaction. But I think Keeney did quite well. So again, we just see Australia taking the chances when they want to turn it on. Travojevic, Timoko is having a bit of a nightmare with him, and Keeney running across. I think that looks okay there on that replay. I don't think he looked like he was in touch there. We'll see what this angle will show it. As Travojevic doing very well running through the line there, sums it up. And Lomax bumps off Keeney. Let's see. Oh, Gee, it's close. It's close, but he has done it. Oh, wait, hang on. No, it's not 10-6. It's 6-10. My bad. So good work from Australia, and as I say, they seem to just be able to turn it on when they want to. But yeah, on that note of Meninga, yeah, as Lancaster says, it's quite hard to sort of judge because that Queensland side was so much better. And really, I actually think so many of those series were 2-1. Very few of them were whitewashes. And I think when you look at the strength of those two sides, a lot more should have been. And then, becomes coach of Australia, the greatest team in the world. So, yeah, I'm just a little skeptical in that sense. Melbourne says, my dad met Meninga when he worked in Canberra and said Meninga was a giant. He is a very, very big man. Very big man. And Arrowhead says, Leaguie, let's make a bet. Okay, what? I'm open. What bet have we got? Caleb says water tiger. I'm curious, does that constitute water? Because water's normally forgetting to update the scoreboard. That was just updating it wrong. Maybe we should have something else for that. But it is 6-10. Lomax kicking here from the sideline. Hangs it out. Looks like to the right. And it will stay 6 points to 10. A very interesting 3 minutes and 22 seconds now to go before halftime. If the Kiwis can sneak a little try in here and walk into the sheds ahead, they'll take a lot of confidence out of that. Otherwise, I think they'll kind of be going into the sheds thinking, well, we did a lot. We dominated field position. We were more physical, but Australia were just able to break the line twice and score 2 tries. I think they'd be quite demoralized by that. So, very big 3 minutes here. Cobra says, Leaguie, people say when you get a position, you stay in that position. But look at me, I went from a winger to a flanker. I know very little about coaching at a junior level specifically, but yeah, it doesn't surprise me that you can change position. We see that all the time in the NRL. So Luke Lewis started his career as a winger, so yeah. Tiger says, Leaguie, when you reveal what team you support, we could preview a game together. Well, yeah, I've been thinking a lot about exactly when I will reveal what team I support. We've got 10k as like a rough thing. I'm very much not committing to that. Mostly because the growth has been so much quicker than I thought it would be. So I don't want to be, well, obviously I want to be hitting 10k like, as soon as possible. But want to keep you guys guessing for a little bit. We'll see how we go. Cross that bridge when we come to it. Lancaster says, one thing I do hate is the media saying everything he's done to bring pride back to Australia since he took over as coach, as if we didn't win the last World Cup before him and as if our last loss wasn't under Meninga last year, literally our worst loss in history. I agree. I mean, he is obviously employed by Fox, so I cynically think a lot of that maybe has to do with the way he's positively portrayed. Cumbria Mackin says, heart says Kiwis, head says Aussie by 12. I'm inclined to sort of agree with that. NRL head says, if Australia win, you have to play thick of it at the end of the vid. I've seen KSI demonetizing people for that. I'd rather not get copyright claimed by a YouTuber that I grew up watching. So I can't take those odds, unfortunately. Like I says, not just 2 breaks, 3 breaks. That's a good point. Should be 16-6 if not for that historical bombing. Thanks, Angus. Yeah. I mean, that was obviously less traditional of a line break. It was, you know, an attacking play, but the line was certainly broken. There was a gap there to run into. So Australia have drawn a penalty, and we see Zach Lomax now lining up this kick, doing, I think, definitely the right thing, taking the score out to 10-6. And it says, why don't you sing it then? I'll do it in Buzz's voice. There we go. You guys would love that. Very much not committing to doing that, for the record. I like my outro, or like my music. My music's cool. So Lomax lining it up, takes this few steps back, takes a few steps forward, strikes it. And it's easy as you like. Now it becomes 12 points, 2-6. And those 3 minutes and 20 seconds have absolutely evaporated with the Kangaroos having the ball and soaking up time there through that kick. As they show the one Australia fan in the crowd who's looking down at his phone. So 25 seconds to go. You wouldn't think that New Zealand are going to really try anything special here. They'll just be looking to go in only one converted try behind. So kick goes up, caught there by Moses, and it's a charging Mitch Barnett, the New Zealand Warrior playing against New Zealand in New Zealand. Tiger says Leaguie should make an NRL parody. You mean like an NRL parody song? As Australia spread the ball a bit out wide, but won't chance their arm too much, and it will be 12-6 at half-time. Lancaster says, actually, the way Edwards is playing is, dare I say, Ponga-like. A Ponga light. Fox making such a stink about the Ponga episode makes more sense if it was actually Mal freaking out that his plan was being broken. Now we're getting into 10 foil hat areas. I don't mind a bit of that. It's fair enough. I do definitely disagree on that, on the point of, like, as you say, the media saying, like, he's brought pride back to the jersey. How can you argue that that's true when we saw an instance like Ponga? Certainly, I think players withdraw from playing for Australia a lot less than players withdraw from playing for other countries. But to me, that's not necessarily to do with any particular country. I think that's just to do with the way International Rugby League currently is. So, yeah. Cobra says, I saw you made the vid about the Bears public again. Yeah, I changed the title to it. It's a bit more out of the news cycle now. I had it down for about 2 weeks when everyone was really talking about it. But, I changed it from, like, you know, the 18th team is confirmed to will the Bears be the next team. And I think, people being able to see that the vid was uploaded, like, 2 months ago or something, will let them know that, you know, it's outdated. I'm definitely not making a claim or anything in it. So, Melbourne says, want me to make you a Rugby League Live 4? Go on. I'm going to make a lot of Rugby League Live 4 content this off-season. And I've got a lot of video ideas, one of which will be I put myself in Rugby League Live 4 and we'll, like, simulate a little career mode. So, it'll be interesting to see how that goes. Roosters fan, good to see you here, as usual. Pete says, both the Roos and the Kiwis look uneasy. Do you think we should bring back the Anzac test as a series once we get less fixtures? I'm not sure exactly where I stand on how the international calendar should look once we do get less fixtures. Just because, while I want as many international games as possible, and I certainly hope that when we reduce to when we increase to 20 teams and reduce to hopefully 19 rounds, we have more international fixtures to compensate for that. But I also want the World Cup to stay special. I don't want at the end of every year a full international tournament where everyone's playing everyone. So I do like, you know, the current version of the Pacific Championships, but it does seem to kind of be a bit limited by the fact that we have to send a team over to England so they have someone to play. So I'll probably make it into a video one day on exactly what I hope will happen. But obviously it's very far down the line before we get to 20 teams anyway. And even when we do, there's no guarantee. Peter Volandis has said he's open to reducing the fixtures, but there's no guarantee that will happen. Cobra says, I still would like to know where I can get Rugby League Live 4. It really depends on your the console you're using, or are you using PC? I have no idea. I happened to buy it when it came out, and I just kept the disc, and I still have the disc that I use for my Xbox, so that's what I've been using. Lancaster, honestly, I wouldn't blame Mal if that was the case. The elimination final was basically Ponga versus Cowboys, and Ponga nearly won before he ran out of steam. I was in awe of Ponga's performance in that game. He was so impressive, and I've been rather critical of Ponga in the past. I'm nowhere near as high on Ponga as a lot of other NRL content creators are. A couple of years ago, I had a I guess hot take, controversial opinion that Ponga was a quote average NRL fullback, and just to defend that point of view, I mean average in the literal sense of he is the median NRL fullback, and he was, in my opinion, at that time. Okay, to be the middle fullback in the NRL, there would be 8 that were better than you, and comfortably a couple of years ago you had Tedesco, Edwards, Dvojevic, Reece Walsh, Will Kennedy back then was even in better form, I would argue, than Ponga was. Maybe at least, you know, on par. Scott Drinkwater, I think, would be at that level. I'm probably forgetting a couple of guys. Just having a look at my wall. Latrell would probably have been there when he was in his prime, but that has certainly changed now. Certainly changed. I was going through ratings for all the 2025 teams in Rugby League Live the other day, just to set up these squads for some simulations, and I've ranked Ponga very highly. So he's proven me wrong in that case for sure. Tiger says Dylan Chugger Italian Rookie of the Year. I'll probably make the guy called the Leaguie, but yeah, that would be funny. Mr. Happy says, can you make a video on the history of Anzac Day matches? You mean Anzac Day test matches, like these two teams, or you mean like Roosters and Dragons, or Storm and Warriors, historically Anzac? Cobra's on Xbox S. You can probably find a copy on eBay or something. Robbie 101, hey Leaguie, I can stay for half time. Let's go. Gabeth Napil, guys, who scored the first tries for both teams? So we've had Lindsay Collins scoring the first try of the game for the Kangaroos. Then it was Jamina Sarko for the Kiwis. And then somewhat late in the half, with only 3 minutes to go, it was Zach Lomax over in the corner. Caleb says, did you see that Green Cobra thought that you, the Leaguie, thought you were a Cowboys fan? Yes, I saw that prediction in the video. I will give you the same answer that I always give you, that I can not deny or confirm these allegations. But Cobra, if you are still here, I'm very curious. What was the evidence? What was the reasoning behind that? I'd like to know. Roosters fan says, what NRL teams' channels are you subbed to? I think none. I'm not subscribed to very many people at all, but I don't think I'm subscribed to any NRL teams' channels. Luai's here. Hope the Kiwis win. For the record, guys, I'm pretty amazed that this hasn't already been spoiled for me yet. I have not watched England versus Samoa. I have no idea. Please, now that I mentioned that, do not spoil it for me, because they haven't uploaded it on Fox yet, and I would love to watch it. So, yeah, I'm assuming a lot of you guys have seen it. Danny, who I don't think I've seen in the chat so far today, he's a big Samoa fan. So, yeah, no spoilers, please. But yeah, Cobra. So yeah, what was the thinking behind it? Lancaster says, my hot take is that I think Ponga is Cleary's equal or close enough, and it's almost impossible to split them. Well, that's certainly the other way. Yeah, it's very hard because Ponga is obviously in a system that is built around him. So that causes two things. It's an advantage in the sense that he has the ball all the time, right? And he's involved with everything. But it's a disadvantage in the sense that both teams coming up against the Knights know to target him. That's a pretty simple game plan. And secondly, a guy like Cleary will go up in people's esteem by giving a try assist to a Liam Martin or to a Brian To'o or Dylan Edwards or whatever manner of quality players that the Panthers have. A Kalen Ponga is going to struggle to do that a lot more with a Dylan Lucas, a Greg Marju, or a Jack Cogger. So yeah, it's tough on him. There is definitely a part of me, because I very much like the Knights, there's a part of me that wants to see him stay at the Knights and attract more talent to the Knights. That's my, I guess, rugby league big picture opinion. But in terms of my opinion on Ponga himself, I'd love to see him in a good system. I know that there's obviously a lot of links between him and the Roosters that don't seem to go away. The Roosters will be looking for a long-term fullback once James Tedesco retires. They'll have the money to do it. Curious to see whether that could ever eventuate. Melbourne says, what's up with sorry, what's your eye color? Because it's for making you an RLL4. I don't know, can you tell? It's brown. I'm just a normal brown. I'm a basic brown. NRL Head says, I joined last stream as well. Yeah. Tiger says that game hasn't been played. Oh, really? I thought it was last night. Never mind. Maybe I've just got my that would make sense as to why it hasn't been uploaded then. I thought it was last night. Yeah, because wasn't it? Because Danny was like, we're gonna stay up all night and watch it. So that's why I thought it was last night. But okay, I'm glad that it's still to play then. Let's go. Rugby says, who do you think is going to be in the Pacific Championships finals? Men's? These two teams, personally. I think New Zealand will beat Tonga next week and set up this as a final. GRP says, League is an NRLB Netherlands fan. 100% I am. That's what I am. Well and truly. Amsterdam Cobras. Big up, long live. Gabeth says, PNG Kummels isn't one of those going in finals. They might be. I mean, they will... I think there'll be a very good chance of playing in that third place game, so to speak. I expect that they're going to beat Cook Islands quite easily. So yeah, well and truly they'll be there. Melbourne says, I made you let me post it in my community feed. Okay, let me know once it's posted and I'll go have a look. Roosters fan 01 says, who do you think Roosters should sign as JWH replacement? I don't think they need to sign anyone personally, and I think Trent Robinson has spoken out about that. And the reason why I think that is in this game, starting front rower for the Kiwis, Naufahu White. He wasn't in the Roosters' best 17 this year. That's absurd that you can have a player of that quality not in the 17. So I think quite simply, the rotation this year will be, you'd have Lindsay Collins, Spencer Leniu, Terrell May, and Naufahu White. Pretty straightforward. And we saw, what was his name? Young guy played for the Roosters against the Rabbitohs in the last game of the season. Va'a, I think it was. De La Salle Va'a. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was De La Salle Va'a. So he can come in and play that sort of more injury cover role. Lancaster says, well, not really. For a very long time, Adam O'Brien had his brain-dead game plan of using Ponga as a super decoy, and he never got any ball. Coincidentally, that was early this year when they weren't winning. Yeah, I'm talking more about in recent times and generally in his time at Newcastle. Because they have very often used him as a decoy in that way in order to combat that, like, teams logical will just target Ponga mentality. But there's definitely a middle ground there for sure. Mr. Happy, who says, what's your top teams of all time? That's a very general question. I can't make all time statements because I haven't seen all time. But if you're talking about like the best, I guess, NRL teams that I've seen play, the one that always comes to mind, aside from these Panthers, which is just an obvious answer, the 2017 Melbourne Storm struck me as incredibly dominant. That spine they had of Billy Slater, Cameron Munster, Cooper Cronk, Cameron Smith, I cannot fathom you could have a better club spine than that. And, you know, it wasn't just those four either. That team had Jesse Bromwich in it. That team had Josh Adokar, Suliasi Vunivalu, Will Chambers, I believe, was still playing. In fact, yeah, Will Chambers was definitely still playing. So that was Felice Kalfusi, you know, Dale Finucane. That team was crazy. Green Cobra says, okay, I think you might be like me. I support South, but Queensland is state of origin, and I know you support the Blues, and I had a feeling you liked a Queensland team, and that's why I think it's the Cowboys. I don't mind that logic, for sure. No, I will neither deny or confirm anything that any of these allegations. Rugby 101, who's been your favourite player so far? You mean in this game? In this game, Keanu Keaney, for sure. The young fullback from the Titans. And now New Zealand. He has played with such intensity and such a lack of self-preservation. He just flies into the line. And of course he had, I mean, it wasn't the last pass, but it was in many ways a try assist for the Kiwi try. So very good stuff from him. Tiger says, Leaguie, what did you think of the Mount Gravatt under 12 season? Loved it. Look, I mean, that fullback that they have is an absolutely electric player. And I've got to say, you know, while he's a little bit tough with his ball handling, it's because he checks his arm all the time. So you got to live with that. Very much a fan of a young player trying his arm like that. But no, yeah, Mount Gravatt under 12s, I'm a huge fan. Or Mount Gravatt, maybe it is. I don't know. Probably that's pronounced Gravatt, and I'm being polished by saying Gravatt. Roosters fan says, you should just call your live streams talking to fans while mentioning the game going on at some points. To be fair, in my defense, right now it is halftime. But yes, I do have to strike a balance a bit of focusing on the game as well. But it's just because you guys have so much to say, and I love that. I love that we can just kind of sit around and, you know, chat about games while they're on. But yeah, obviously right now I'll be talking more because it's halftime. Rugby 101, all good. See you for New Zealand and Tonga. And Cobra says, I loaded 2 shorts, so they have you in Leaguie. Well, I'll make sure I watch them as soon as this stream is done. Melbourne says, made you check my community later. Yes, I will also do that. So I'll check both Cobra and Melbourne after this game. Lancaster says, 2022 Panthers, 2017 Storm, Para 01, Manly 08 is our underestimated shout. There were good teams further back, but too far back for me to comment. Yeah, that's the limitation for me as well. One team as well that I had a lot of respect for growing up, they obviously say defense wins premierships, and the 2013 Roosters, their defense was unreal. I think they broke the record across an NRL season of the number of teams they held to 0. It was something crazy, and one of the best ever rugby league finals games I've seen was the first week of the finals in 2013. The Roosters played the Sea Eagles, which went on to be the grand final, and it was 4-0. I think Roger Tuivasa-Sheck might have scored an early try. Maloney missed the conversion, and it just remained 4-0. That was a special team. Yeah, Tiger's correct. They beat Manly 4-0. Yeah. Curb says, don't you normally leave at halftime and come back in the second half? I used to, but now the chat goes on through the halftime break, and I don't know, maybe I've grown as a streamer. Roosters fan says, I like that Leaguie sees all comments unlike other YouTubers. I certainly try to. There's definitely some that I miss, so my apologies if I do miss them, but I try. Mr. Happy, do you think the salary cap should be increased? I don't really have the stats to really make a claim on that. They're about to kick off, so I'm going to do my usual syncing thing. As Ashley Kine does blow his whistle, and there we go. If you want to sync up with me, that's the point. They did just recently increase the salary cap, so while I am definitely a fan of the lower ranked players earning more, like evening that up, I don't necessarily think we need to increase the salary cap as such. JRP says, Leaguie, should we bring back the Tri-Nations and introduce a second tier international fixture where 3 of the best of the Southern and Northern Hemisphere teams play for rankings and World Cup qualifiers? Well, as I said, yeah, I need to sit down and truly think about the structures, but I do like that idea for sure. Roosters fan says Leaguie 100% Rooster. Come on. I'm a Cowboys fan. I'm a Roosters fan. You guys got to get your conspiracies in order. Tiger says, Leaguie, you should do an RLL4 career mode on a live stream. I would love to, but I don't have it on my PC, and that makes it really hard. I don't know how to stream from an Xbox, especially an Xbox One. I'm not sure I could handle it. I know that there are things you can buy. Elgato, I believe, is the big one, but having the money to do that's a different matter. So we're a minute and 10 seconds into the second half now, and there was a little bit of a juggle by Zach Lomax in coming out of his own end there. The pass was wild, but the Kiwis did well there on the kickoff set and have Australia trapped in their own 30 on still the third tackle. Green Cobra with yet another donation. Mr. Moneybags over here. He is single-handedly funding the channel over here. That's unreal. Thank you very much, my friend. And the Kangaroos lose the ball. Their challenge is gone. They can't dispute that. And now there's a chance for the New Zealand Kiwis to get back on level pegging. Alex Neal says, I remember that game. Penalty in the final minutes that would have given Manly a set on their line. They kicked to the far side and didn't make touch. Right, I don't remember that. But yeah, that was just... I mean, I haven't ever, like, you know, made an official claim in this sense, but... we don't get games like that anymore. That's the impact of the 6 again rule, and I like the rule. I think on the balance of things, it's made for more entertainment, but we're never going to get a game like that again with these rules, with the fatigue that we have in the game now. And in terms of growing the sport, that's probably a good thing. In terms of the purists, that's unfortunate. So as Fisher Harris is picked up and not quite dumped, but dominated there by Mitch Barnett, his future front row partner. Papali'i digs into the line there. So on the 4th, just outside the 10, couple of chances up their sleeve here. Johnson goes short to Fisher Harris. Not too threatening. We'll see what they do with their last play here. Johnson with the ball in his hands again. Grubber's in tight, trying to find Hiku. And that was a good little grubber there, but they do consistently go to Sean Johnson. So it's interesting. Charles Dickel Kluxat hasn't really had his hands on the ball in attacking play. I'd like to see him have a go, because it is somewhat predictable, and the Kangaroos will be aware to that as they do drop it out, and that's a very New Zealand friendly bounce. That could have been a lot worse. To Griffin Neem running it back. They went long and they went quick. So now Maratani Ukore of the Warriors hitting it up. Lancaster says, yeah, watching that confirms that Meninga has a game plan he's jamming Deadwoods into. He's gone back to running by the end of half one, and his first action is throwing a crazy pass. Now, fair enough. And Cobra, yeah, don't worry about donating more. I'd much rather you be alive than your mum kill you. Camda says, Leaguie, what are some of your favorite ever games? Well, I said it at the start of this stream. If we're talking about internationals, one of my favorite ever was last time these two sides played, and New Zealand won 30-0. That stands out to me for sure. Last year's grand final was unreal. So yeah, no, good question, but there've been quite a few good ones. As that ball comes off the uprights there, could this be a New Zealand try? We're going to go up to the bunker here. They're claiming it though. It was definitely unconventional. I think Angus Crichton... I mean, Angus Crichton's confirming to his teammates that he has grounded it. But the ball bouncing off the uprights very much caused a bit of confusion there amongst the ranks of the Kangaroos. Arrowhead says, Leaguie's the bet on. I can't play the song. I'll get demonetized. And also, I've heard it maybe once or twice. I have no idea how it goes. Pete says, Leaguie, you'd make a good Roosters fan. You'd fit the sombrero. Sorry, I meant team. Why? What makes you say that? Is that grounded there by Crichton? Have we seen Angus Crichton mess up his second grounding of the game? It might just come off his leg there. No grounding, and they're saying it was Edwards on the spot. I think it does look like Edwards' hand first, yep. Mr. Happy, is it just me or Storm starting to get too many forwards? I disagree. So the signing of Uta Ikamanu definitely adds a lot to their forward pack, but you look at their pack on paper this year, and it wasn't very special. Guys like Alec McDonald coming off the bench, as they do go short the Kangaroos, and that's caught very well by New Zealand. Yeah, I think they've got a lot of forwards, but in terms of high-quality forwards, Utokumanu is going to be an unreal signing for them. And our head says Edwards got the same boots as Crossland. Yeah, I'm curious as to NRL players' boots choices. Are they sponsored or and JRP's just play? Yeah, no, that's all good. I love the theories. I always find them quite fun. Obviously, knowing the answer myself, it's fun to see. So New Zealand on the third attacking. Johnson goes short to Timoko. Potentially a bit of high contact there. Went around his head, but they're going to rule that that's all good. Lancaster, yeah, forwards are their weakness at the moment. Obviously, they'll want more top forwards. Yeah, and a pack, as we see, Timoko, yeah, he wasn't happy about that contact. I think that's perfectly valid, to be honest. I mean, I only had one look at it, but it seemed high to me. So what are they saying? Tiger, I'm not reading that. You're not going to get me to read that. Caleb, though, says, guess what my real name is, Leaguie and Tiger Walker. Surely your real name is Caleb Thwaites. If your real name isn't Caleb Thwaites, then that's a very unusual username that you've chosen out. You see Sean Johnson barks to his team, tackle 4. So no high contact. Fourth tackle, New Zealand, again, with more attacking field position. But it's the same usual, just digging underneath. Like us, surely they score here. They have to try. They have to chance their arm. Johnson, again, kicking over the top, trying to find Warbrick. Was he taken out? He was. Yep, they've called out Tom Trbojevic for taking out Warbrick. They have, I mean, look, I'm by no means claiming that I know more about rugby league than Stacey Jones or Sean Johnson, or even some of you guys, but they're not going to break the Kangaroos by just going under, dropping under. They have to try shifting the ball. They have to try some set plays, and right now they're not doing that, especially down their left side, through the likes of Nickel Gluckstad. It's like they're just focusing on the right and down the middle. And that will tire out the Australians for sure. Maybe towards the back end of the game, they'll be able to get something out of that. But you're playing a dangerous game against a team who can score from anywhere on the park by just trying to tire them out and hoping that it will all sort itself out by the end of the game. That is risky. As they drop under again, Murata Niukore. Happy says, do you know how many sin bins the Tigers had this year? That seemed to happen most games. I think it was like 7 or something. I can't remember. But they definitely led. So Keeney across, wrapped up there by Crichton. Lancaster says, to be fair, dropping under is a great strat if you're in for the long game and think you're the better forwards. It is, and I understand that. But against a team like Australia, I think they're chancing. They're taking a bit of a risk that by the end of the game they'll be able to, like, without having as many points on the board, just get the points there through fatigue. I think there's a time and place for it. So Nickel Gluckstad just easily wrapped up there. Or does get the ball away, but they've ruled that it was held. Across, Timoko, kicked by Johnson again, trying to find Petahiku. Knocked on, no, okay, it was knocked back, they've ruled. Niukore with the ball. Johnson gets the ball now. Second kick to try and find Asako. Slips over, does Coates. Now he's knocked it on, and it's a penalty. And that was just, it all went wrong for Xavier Coates there. Tiger Walker says, Leaguie, what team do you think I support? Obviously the Mount Gravett under 14. So you're a step above me in the under 12s. So Coates, you don't see that often. I mean, he was just caught off guard by the fact that he slipped over, but they're showing the stats there. Second half, 14 tackles inside the opposition 20 in only 8 minutes. I completely accept what Lancaster's saying about, yeah, tiring out the opposition forwards. But I don't think that against the Kangaroos, it's the kind of thing where you can wait until the last 20 minutes or so while you're a couple of scores behind and think, okay, now we're going to, put it on. So Tarpon, he does get around the outside of some Kangaroos there, but is wrapped up. And it's played, and they couldn't work their way back through the ruck there. Lancaster's got to be in the bin for that. I probably got to have another look at it. Johnson definitely thinks so. But come on, the Kiwis. You've got to get something on the board. Niokore hitting it up. So Crosland in a dummy half. Looks like Griffin Neems menacing there. Doesn't get the ball. Johnson, Papali'i underneath him again. I don't think I'd call that a sin bid, but maybe another penalty and we'd be talking about it. 6 more they rule. And our head says we want Burton on. I think we'll have to wait a little bit to see that. Crossland. Okay, now they're spread out wide. Gets the ball to Asako and he is bundled over the sideline there. I mean, look, I've got to give credit where it's due. They tried something there, and that's what I've been calling for them to do. But it was very deep. It was very deep. Asako had a long way to go. So Australia, yeah, credit to them. Their defense there was very good. That's a number of attacking sets there that they held out New Zealand for. So good stuff from the Kangaroos. So the Kangaroos now working it out from their own end. 30 minutes, 52 seconds on my stream left to go in this game. And next score is huge, in my opinion. I mean, that's somewhat obvious. If Kangaroos get it, then 2 scores ahead, and that's a long way to come back from. But yeah, it's frustrating to watch from a Kiwis perspective. Second half possession, 83% Kiwis. Pete says Kangaroos would be fatigued if Cheese was playing. Yeah, he's another one as well that I forgot to mention earlier on top of JMK. He'd be getting in behind the ruck, that's for sure. Lancasters, I reckon the drop under 9 minutes of goal defense will come back later. I definitely hope you're right. As they do put a kick up, Kurtz catches it, dumps it out the back, rugby union style, and they're really, that's the knock on. So, pretty good aerially from Xavier Coates there. But as I've said so far this game, New Zealand seem to be allowing him to just catch it and then being ready to shut him down as soon as he reaches the ground. Tiger Walk says, Leaguie, what's your opinion on s'mores? If you dislike s'mores, if anyone dislikes s'mores, I think that they are a fundamentally wrong'un of an individual. So across now through Papali'i, and one thing is for certain, that the Kangaroos are making sure that this is nothing like last time these two sides played. They are up for it, for sure. They're not at their best, and I did expect them to be better than this, to be honest. But their defense is good, and that's something that they did have last week against Tonga. It's just to do with their cohesion in attack. Lancaster somewhat echoing that, saying every Kangaroo is playing worse than at Clubland / Origin. It's in attack, definitely so. And I mean, not that I want to criticize Malmaninga again, but that is something where when you have a common denominator like that, it's on the coach. Hamiso Tabuai-Fidow getting around the outside. Pete Hiku there, very much going in with his shoulder, it looked like to me. Anyway. Melbourne saying, been to GIO Stadium. I've been there. I love GIO Stadium. I've been there, God, probably upwards of 30 times, maybe 20, 30 times. But yeah, that's my local stadium. So yeah, love GIO. Gary Host, where's the send-off for too many infringements? I don't think we'll see that now. We're sort of outside of that little period. But also, a lot of those infringements were like the Kangaroos knocking on. So it makes it seem like New Zealand have had the ball for a long time. Should we be getting into sin bin territory? Whereas like it was a knock on, for example, from Coates. Kayla says, I'm a fundamentally wrong individual. You're definitely a fundamentally wrong individual if you dislike s'mores. Lancaster, I'd assume you've got a Raiders membership then. If you're trying to bait me into saying I'm a Raiders supporter, I won't do that. But yes, I do have a Raiders membership. But disclaimer, over the course of my life, I've been a member of very many NRL teams. I'm a Raiders member because it saves me money rather than buying tickets to all of their games. And I go to Raiders games because they are, my local team here. Tiger says, Leaguie, what Super League team do you support? Catalans, Dragons. Potentially a little bit of high contact there as Kurtz was returning it. It looked like Sorensen's arm was a bit high, but nothing given. Crossland did very well to stand up to Lomax there. Play by almost out to Edwards. Ball plays out to Dearden, who runs towards the line, tries to get around, but Lancaster says, I wasn't making an assertion about you supporting them. Interesting reaction, though. I'll keep my cards close to my chest. But yeah, no, all good. It does make sense for me to be a Raiders member. So Carrigan on the 5th, taking the carry just over the 40, and it will be Tom Dearden with the kick. Drills it up towards the sideline. He was outside the 40, just about, I believe. But geez, he was close. Cobra says Western Force. I made an email for people to talk to me from YouTube. That's pretty cool. So pretty Jordan Ricky now onto the field, and the crowd love that. On for Murata Niukore. Niukore has been quite solid in this game, but Ricky's probably got a bit more of a point of difference in terms of how explosive he is. Defensively, I've got my concerns about Jordan Ricky, but at this point in the game with New Zealand needing points, I think it's pretty fair to bring him on. And Lancaster says, I'm the same, to be honest, have a Penrith membership and I'm far from a Penrith supporter. It just financially make a lot of sense. NRL head, what do you think about Walsh and Barley? I just kind of, to be honest, don't really care. Boys, I quite often think boys will be boys, but also an incident like that, I think, like, it's something happening in a bar in Bali, like, it's not exactly a reliable source. It's hard to judge what happened. So Johnson with an attacking kick, and again, they don't contest it. They just nail Coates when he reaches the ground there. Tiger says, why does Madge leave rep teams after he wins stuff? He won with the Kiwis last year and now leaving New South Wales after winning an Origin series. Well, I think, to be fair, each time he stepped up, from Kiwis coach to an Origin coach is a step up, especially for a New South Welshman, and then from Origin coach to club coach, especially at a team like the Broncos. Makes a lot of sense. Cobra says, I don't know if I can say on this chat. Well, that's all right. Pete says, I honestly think Samoa and Tonga should be standalone mid-season test. I've heard that it has potential to generate revenue and be Origin-like. I have very often said, and one of my recent videos proves that, in my opinion, that game, we are a matter of years away from it being Origin standard. It is Origin standard in the outside backs and the forwards. It's just the spine, and we've got guys like Latu Fainu, Isaiah Katoa, young potential fullbacks like Amiso Tabuai-Fidow, if he chooses to play for Samoa. Jerome Luai is still, a young half, relatively speaking, is yet to come into his prime. So once these guys do develop in the next 3 or 4 years, I think it's going to be a very good fixture. And yes, I made a separate video about what I would do in that Origin period. I'm very much in favor of pausing the NRL, have it be a 3-week period, and have Tonga and Samoa play each other. Have Fiji and Papua New Guinea play each other. Have, I don't know, Cook Islands and anyone play each other. I think that would be very cool. Lancaster says, Tiger, it's because he wants to be coaching. He always was clear. Yeah, this is on Madge. Christian says, Leaguie can't watch us because the Kiwis are letting me down. Come on, your Kiwis are trying. They're definitely trying. And we've got another donation here from Teo. Keep up the great content. Thank you, mate. €3. That's the first time I've got a donation in euros. Where on earth are you watching this from? I'd love to know that there's someone out there watching a Rugby League Watchalong live stream from over in Europe. Let's go. Hell yeah. Thank you, man. Lancaster, it's crazy that Cleary and Luai made the statistically most successful halves pairing of all time before either were in their prime. Agreed. It was crazy. I for a very long while felt that the best halves pairing I had seen, I mean, I loved Cherry Evans and Foran early in their careers particularly, but I thought the best halves pairing I saw was Cooper Cronk and Luke Keary. They paired together with each other so well. They were the yin and yang of each other, and they won 2 comps in the 2 years that they were together. Cleary and Luai, next level. The way that they were able to work together with, like, Cleary is not a conventionally game-managing halfback in the way Cooper Cronk was, but the way that his deficiencies in that area, Luai made up for them, it was just special. And while I would absolutely love to see Jerome Luai transform the West Tigers as a club, I wouldn't mind seeing them play together again. I'm glad we'll get to see it in Origin. Melbourne says, my favourite duo was Slater and Smith, and trio was Kronk, Slater and Smith. I'm curious to ask you as a Melbourne fan, because I've been down to Amy Park, and for those of you who don't know, there's a statue outside Amy Park of Slater and Smith. And to me, I'm like, wow, it really stands out that Kronk isn't there. I don't really see how you can make a statue of two of them without the third. And I know Kronk went to another club, beat the Storm in a grand final, but what do you think of that? As Australia now spreading the ball out wide, and they've done well there, the Kiwis, to shut that down, stay man on man, and Warbrick shutting down Lomax. Now the show stat there, tackled in opposition 20 is 20-0. Now it will be 20-1. It's been good from New Zealand, but they haven't put the finishing touch. Harry Grant now down the side, gets it out to Lomax, and we've got a try there for the Australia Kangaroos. That was very good eyes up play there from the Melbourne Storm captain, Harry Grant. Fair enough. I have to take that one. I'm disappointed, but there is just a gulf of class here. New Zealand aren't able to put on the finishing touches. You see, Jovovic in at dummy half finds Grant running around him, playing centre. You'd expect those two to be almost in opposite roles, and it's Harry Grant with the flick offload out the back. Keeney had to square up with Lomax, then Sorensen had to square up with Lomax, and he did just get the ball to the ground. It's not looking good, bruv. It's not looking good for these Kiwis. Teo says, yes, I'm watching from Europe, but try to keep up with rugby league. Very cool, man. I'm always really happy to hear that. People from countries that don't necessarily play or watch the sport doing that. Lancaster says, on the topic of Cleary, Luai, and Origin, my hot take is that we should see Cleary at 9, Moses at 7, Luai 6, do it Joey style. That always worked amazingly well, and Cleary could do it easy. Best way to fit all three. Cleary could definitely do it easy. I'd be nervous about that as a New South Wales fan, because Cleary and Luai do work so well together, and of course taking a gamble like that on the Origin stage is such a risk, but it would be a good way to fit in all three. And I've got to say, I rate Reece Robson, but he's not on the level of a guy like Harry Grant, for example, for the Maroons. Even I think Ben Hunt is probably, has been in the past, a better hooker. So New South Wales currently do lack maybe a very high quality hooker, and that can be a way of solving that problem. Oh, and that's sweet. All you guys are subscribing to each other. So Lomax steps up for the kick, strikes it, and he'll hang it out to the right again. So it's just leaving the gap open a little bit, but New Zealand can't afford to let this get any bigger. The dropping underneath that me and Lancaster have been talking about, it's going to start paying dividends now. Otherwise, it's going to be a long way back for New Zealand. In fairness, I was talking to my father before this live stream. He also is going for the Kiwis in this, and he said, in his opinion, New Zealand only have one upset in them this tournament, and he'd rather that upset be on grand final day. So if that's true, then sure, I'd definitely rather them win the final, just like last year. But obviously you want them to win whatever games they can. And in our head sense, I think Moses would have to be 9. I'm not sure he has the same physicality as Cleary does. Cleary's got a bigger build than Moses, so he's potentially better equipped for that. Yeah, I think he's more suited to that role. And also a guy who's an assistant at the Panthers is Peter Wallace, who transitioned from half to hooker towards the end of his career. So I'm imagining Cleary's learned a lot from Wallace and would be able to bring that potentially to Origin. So we've seen a knock on there from Isaiah Yeo. Very rare that we see a handling error from him. That never happens when he's wearing a Penrith Panthers jersey. New Zealand will get a chance here. That Tiger says, who's Danny's uncle? Sam Walker. Lancaster, well, we do have a high quality hooker, but we refuse to select him for some reason. Probably because he always has a sore back carrying the current Tigers. I agree that Coruscant's the best hooker in New South Wales. I do think though he wasn't as suited to the Maj style game plan where they want a really physical hooker who can run. Coruscant isn't as good at that, but I do agree Coruscant's better. Alex Neal, Origin level backs can play anywhere if you can get them familiar with each other, get their instincts in sync with each other, and you could get the total football of rugby league. I agree with that in theory, but look at these Australians, right? I know that they're winning 16 points to 6, but we're not exactly seeing free-flowing attack from them. We've seen line breaks. Even in the first game, it was line breaks. So they can't necessarily... Like, this brand of footy, I don't think would work on an Origin level. Last tackle for the Kiwis, and there we go. It just digs short into the line. And it's, as I said earlier, when they scored that try, I know that that was a set play, but going short to the back rower, I'm not sure about. And they just went short there to Timoko when he couldn't get the ball away. I expect that New Zealand will be a lot better in their next game against Tonga, just being better for having played a game together. Alex Neal says, name Nico at 2, Taho at 6, Cleary at 4. They're good enough to play off their own instincts. That's certainly a claim. It's a claim. Well, yeah, I wouldn't be moving Cleary outside of the spine, that's for sure. Tiger says, can I promote my channel in this chat? Absolutely. You can promote whatever you want in this chat. You know, within reason. But yeah, definitely promote your own channel. Lancaster agrees in saying Moses is an out-and-out 7. Cleary's got more versatility, and here's a real hot take. I think Moses is as good a 7 as Cleary, but Cleary's a better player overall. I don't entirely disagree with that. It's like I said, Cleary's not a traditional game-managing half. He can do it. But it's like I always used to say when people would compare Thurston with Cronk. I said Cronk is definitely a better halfback than Thurston was, even if you argue that Thurston was a better player. And the same is possibly true for Moses and Cleary as well, even though Moses isn't, you know, a Cronk level game manager himself either. Pete says, if Q Cup and New South Wales Cup was to improve in standard, do you think Origin could be played by second grade and the NRL replaces Origin with New Zealand versus Oz yearly series alongside Tonga and Samoa? I don't see... I mean, it would take a lot for the standard of second grade to improve to anywhere close to first grade. As we see Scott Sorensen, okay, here we go, the Kiwis. We'll war break down the side now. And I'll just commentate this for a bit because the Kiwis are on a bit of a roll. They're on a roll here. Fourth tackle, ball in the hands of Nickel Klugstad, goes across to SJ. Now they're spreading it a little bit. Gets to Keanu Kinney. Okay, we've got some room here. Neem across to Hiku. They've gone winger to winger. Isako running himself has to go back into field. One tackle left. You sense something's going on here. Hiku finds Johnson. Does get boot to ball. Going across to try and find Warbrick. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. William Warbrick. Look at that. Running around in circles around Zach Lomax. And that gets the home crowd up and about. The game's on again. 16-10, kick to come. We're within a score, ladies and gentlemen. 15 minutes to go. I said you sense something's happening here. You sense it's happening, and it was brilliant from Sorensen getting that offload to the eventual try scorer Warbrick. And it's, as I was saying, they need to spread the ball, and they weren't afraid to play into space. Went sideline to sideline. Johnson kicking low and hard, and that's brilliant awareness positionally from Warbrick to know Lomax is going to expect me to go infield. I'm going to go the way he doesn't expect me to go. And Lomax was completely caught unawares there. That's a really good try. That's a very good try for the Kiwis. Very, very good. I'm seeing Kiwis and New Zealand flags all throughout the chat. Brilliant. Let's go. Hell yeah. Game on, ladies and gents. 16 points to 10, kick to come. That crowd there in Christchurch are loving it. Hopefully Krishan's come back. He said that he couldn't watch because his Kiwis were disappointing him. I hope he didn't miss out on that. And just touching back on that halves chat quickly, Lancaster, to be fair, I don't think anyone's a game manager on Cronk's level. He's, in my opinion, a top out-and-out 7 of the NRL era, even if I think there are better players in the NRL era who've played 7. Agree with every word of that, for sure. But yeah, I guess maybe a better way of saying it would be that Moses isn't even a Kronk style of game manager. There's a lot more to, like, he is willing to chance his arm a bit more in attack than maybe Kronk was. So Osako from the sideline, and it's held out to the right. It will remain 16 points to 10. But look, they're within a try. Krishan is here. Let's go. And P. Milner with a donation. So that was pretty funny. He said earlier, I saw, so did Teo Radomorescu donate $4.90? Ben donates $4.91. The pettiness is unreal. I love that for two reasons. One, it's very funny, and two, I directly profit off it. So that's very funny, being Milner. Unreal stuff. Good stuff. So 16 to 10. 16 points to 10. New Zealand will get the ball off the kickoff, and hopefully, Billy Slater has an expression: points give you energy, and that try will give the New Zealand Kiwis energy and inspiration that they could get this score back level again. It is interesting though, because Australia have lacked field position in this game, but if they do get in position, you know, sooner rather than later, do you think they might go the field goal? It'd be very early, but yeah, is it an option? Lancaster says, I can agree with that. Moses is more of an electric threat than Kronk. Yeah, that's sort of what I mean. Who tended to be more of an inevitable glacier that will eventually bury you under his weight. Definitely agree. So good offload there from Tarpanay, and Johnson in behind the ruck running himself. So now tackled on the last, we'll finally see someone else, and it's Keanu Keeney who's going to get his hands on the ball. There's a bit of a gap there in the middle, finds himself in a little bit of a cul-de-sac, gets an offload eventually. Johnson just taps it on forward, and it's caught there by Dearden. Very off the cuff there. Very off the cuff. And yes, guys, don't be arguing about who the best donator is. I love you all equally. Misty Duke says no. Oh my days. Teo with a €2 donation. You guys are all made of money, I swear to God. But thank you. You're literally, I mean, like this microphone, for example, literally purchased with the support of you guys. So you'll see more stuff like that in future. You'll directly see the quality of the videos and the live stream specifically increase. Tiger says, Leaky, what's your least favorite sport? God, that's hard to say. I mean, my least favorite sport is one I probably don't even think about or haven't discovered. I follow football or soccer really, really closely, but I don't watch it. I find it quite boring to watch. So I might not say that's my least favorite sport, but to watch it, it's not particularly up there. I do absolutely love that these donations are coming in, and it's like dollars, then Teo with euros. There's something like culturally cool about getting a donation in euros. So Australia now, I mentioned earlier, if they get in field position, are they going to take the field goal? And they'll be in position at the end of this set for sure. NRL head, what about AFL? I consider AFL a rival to NRL for sure, and in that sense I don't like it. But there are definitely worse sports. Cobra is given the biggest donation of this stream, one of the biggest ever, with $8. That is absolutely unreal. Thank you again, my friend. I say it every time, and you seem to just donate anyway. Then I don't want to take your pocket money. I don't want to get you killed by your mum for using a PayPal account. But thank you. Thank you very much. You're all the true donators. Anyone that has donated, thank you all. Thank you. It's unreal. Australia on the attack, on the third tackle. I'll try and actually talk about the game in the middle of all you guys donating. So thanks. Across now, Angus Crichton gets to Harry Grant. We're still on the third tackle. Australia still have opportunities here up their sleeve. Collins try scorer in this game. Hitting it up. So on the fourth, still 2 more to go. Collins plays it in the hands of Grant, across to Carrigan. And yeah, it will be on the fifth as usual that they really test their arm here. I reckon Carrigan was holding on to Keeney there. Yep, and Klein's done well to stop the play. Moses across, finds Dearden. Wrapped up there by Petahiku. That's good from the Cowboy and his former teammate. Lancaster, a good example of the Cronk-Moses difference will be this set. Cronk would absolutely be considering the field goal right now, but Moses won't angle from on this set. Agreed. And now Jordan with a donation. I am the biggest fan of the Leaguie. To be fair, Jordan's also around a lot. So thank you very much for the $4.92. That's very, very cool, mate. Thank you. I think I've got to practice my reactions to the donations. I'm always just, when that happens, I'm just lost for words and I don't really know what to say. But literally, I was saying to a friend earlier today, if you ask like a 13-year-old me what my dream is, it's to become a rugby league journalist. And here I am. You're literally helping a guy live his dream. So thank you so much. Kiwis on the last tackle. They've worked up the field well on the 30-meter line, kicking it up through Johnson. And that's potentially a knock on there from Trbojevic. What's the ruling? Changeover. I tell you what, Matt Timoko was pretty up and about, but the Royal New Zealand have knocked it on. Surely the Kiwis have got to challenge this. What's the ruling? So they're not going to challenge it. I think, to be honest, the Kiwis didn't know. Pete says, what sport is big in the Netherlands? Soccer. It dominates absolutely everything else. Hockey is also very big, particularly among girls, like field hockey. But it's soccer. It's completely soccer. Cobra says, I might be dead, but it is what it is. Bye-bye. Come on. I don't want your mum killing you. You're a good man. Tiger says, I'm the biggest Leaguie fan. I've been here since the start. I'm not going to pick between my favorites. But thank you all so much. Jordan says Leaguie will be able to afford a tie with his money now. No, I like the tieless look. I know. What do you guys think? What do you guys think of that? As Edwards straight through the line. Moses is there in support. And we're going to, I reckon, have that be game, set, and match. The Australia Kangaroos. It's that man that we were saying is not Cooper Cronk. And he might not be Cooper Cronk, but he is Mitchell Moses. And he makes it 20 points to 10. With only 7 and a bit minutes to go, I reckon that's probably the final nail in the coffin. Lancaster says, C-Mal, finally, Edwards is a runner. And yeah, just the dummy inside Timoko, who I've got to say, a lot of the line breaks so far in this game have come down Matt Timoko's side. He's been given a lot of trouble by Tom Trbojevic. And that was an example of that. He just was not watching Edwards at all. Moses with the good support back on the inside there. And it's 20 to 10. It's 20 to 10. God, you guys are very split on the tie, no tie thing. Nah, I like this look. I think it's, I don't know, sleeker. Going to the video ref, he says no tie. Damn. Caleb wants a tie. Cobra wants a tie. God damn, okay. There's actually a bit more support for tie than I thought. It would need to be a green tie. But no, I'm not a tie kind of man. Toaster Crumbs earlier said, jacket's looking hella green today, Leaky. I'm glad. Well, I bought another light. So there's always a light there. There's now a light there. And I think it's like reflecting off the suit, making it look more green. So that's good. Maybe a bow tie, says B. Milner. Now, that would be iconic. Jordan says, B. Milner, a real NRL fan would know it's not the video ref, it's the bunker. You know, it's got you there, to be fair. He's got you there. Lancaster, I'm above the video ref. I'm the Graham Annesley of League subs, and I've made my ruling. No tie is the correct call. I back what Lancaster says. Lancaster's a very intelligent person. He knows his rugby league, and so I respect his decision. So Zach Lomax, again, another fairly easy kick here. Only 6.5 to go. I would expect he's going to make this 22 to 10. We'll see. Easy as you like, over the black dot. It is 22 points to 10. Disappointing from a Kiwis perspective, but look, I think I said my pre-game prediction for this was 26 to 18. So one score to each additional team. The margin was around sort of what I would have expected. So yeah, I wouldn't be too disappointed from a Kiwis perspective, just like with Tonga last week, maybe a bit less so, but the Kiwis did what they needed to do in terms of field position. It's the execution. I wouldn't go as far as to say the Kiwis have been the better team, though, like it did with Tonga. As they do kick it a bit mid-range, it wasn't short enough. And the Kangaroos do catch that. B. Milner, back in the 50s, me and the lads would go down and watch the Newtown Jets play at Sydney Sports Ground and would all wear bow ties. That sounds like an absolute vibe. Would have loved to have been there for some of that. Very cool. Lancaster says, all right, now on the topic of field goal, we will absolutely see one if Australia finish inside the 40 in decent angle. I'm not as inclined to agree on that one. Maybe as a bit of practice, but I think they'd back themselves being 2 converted tries ahead. I think that the need is maybe a little less obvious than it was before that converted try there. Caleb says, this is the Peter Volandis of the Leaguie live streams. I spoke to Peter Volandis earlier this year in Vegas. I say spoke to, I shouted at him and he waved at me, but technically that's speaking to him. He just didn't really speak back. But I was like I think I said thank you for setting this up, Peter, just about NRL in Vegas. And it's capitulating. It's capitulating. Knock on there from Jordan Ricky. He'll be disappointed with that for sure. I said when he came on, he's a guy who, to be fair, I only mentioned his defensive struggles, but I said his attack is very good, but he's what I was getting around to was that he's not quite as reliable, perhaps, and that you'd have to think extinguishes any miracle hopes that New Zealand might have had. FC Sports forgot about this game. That is devastating. It's been a good game, and it's been a big game. Sellout crowd there over in New Zealand, looks like. Tom Trbojevic stepping outside. I would be, like I said this last week about Tonga and Australia scored. I'd be disappointed if Australia get another one here. I think that this scoreline reflects the game. I think maybe 26 to or 28 to 10 doesn't as much. So Collins will play it across. It looked like he was going to go to Burton, feigned, and Johnson tackling Moses, but Moses goes out the back, and it's Crichton absolutely just palming them off, but going the wrong direction. So across now, Harry Grant still only on the 3rd tackle. Moses to Dearden. Dearden just digs into the line. FC Sports going back to watch from the start. That's some commitment. I back that. Love that support of the international game. So Burton is on field. One of you guys said we're waiting for Burton to come on. There he is. One more up the sleeve of the Australian Kangaroos. Across Carrigan. Moses kicking inside, and it comes off the legs of Ricky, and I think Joe Tarpany did well not to catch that ball because it might have been offside, if so. B. Milner says, enough of this. Can't we all just be brothers enjoying rugby league, the greatest game of all? What would Clive Churchill think of this petty bickering? Let's kiss and make up. And if that doesn't epitomise the energy that I want to bring to the Leaguie channel, then I don't know what does. Let's all kiss and make up. That's what I say. Jordan says, Leaguie, what time will you finish streaming? I need to know when I can stop watching so I can cook dinner. Probably what will be quite soon after the end of the game. And the game's got 3 minutes to go. I'll hang around for like a little bit just to close off. So Johnson kicking there on the 5th end. The field position battle is now well and truly won by the Kangaroos. Unfortunately, we were talking earlier about going underneath, and I'd say, if anything, the opposite to the intended impact has been true. As they show Keanu Kinney 205 meters there on the night. He's well and truly stood up to the question that I had over him coming into this game. He's been outstanding. But yeah, somehow the Australian side, the side that have been doing all the defending, are the ones who are coming home with a head of steam. So definitely work to do there for the Kiwis. Played by Dearden on the 4th. Grant running himself, kicking over the top, trying to find Coates, and geez, Jermaine Haka just swatting it over the sideline. Otherwise, that was going to be a try for Xavier Coates and the Kangaroos. You don't see that much. It was like he was knocking it dead, but he was nowhere near the dead ball line. So Australia will get the ball back here. A minute 40 to go. As I said earlier, very much hope New Zealand do survive this one. I think they deserve to. I think it's Fisher Harris down in back play. New Zealand are defending with one player less. Played by Carrigan, now with Grant Across to Moses, finds Dearden. Offloading back to Moses. Trying to put, did he put a little kick in there? He did. It bounces back to him, and surely that's forward. Geez, I think Australia just happened to find an opportunity available to them there after Moses kicking for himself. And New Zealand have survived that one. But geez, it looked like the try was on there for a second. Tiger says, why is Stacey Jones the coach? I don't really have a good answer other than he is. Why not? Lancaster, I know it's disrespectful at this point, but I want a field goal. I just love him. Probably my favorite way to score in this game. I'm a field goal fan myself as well. And they are always good for practice. And yeah, I mean, some people would view it as disrespectful, and I understand that. But to be honest, you're scoring points in the game. I don't think it can be considered disrespectful with any real merit. You're playing a game, you're scoring points. Whatever way you want to do that, that's fine. So yet another run there from the live wire Keanu Kinney. Now Nafahu White hitting it up. Only another 15 seconds left, and now New Zealand are getting a few offloads. Keeney again with another run. It's a brilliant play from him. And if there are any Gold Coast Titans fans watching, I think you have the right to be very excited about this young man moving forward. Nickel Klukstad finally with a ball in his hands finds Heiku, now offloading to Ricky, and they're trying. They're offloading here. Johnson now across to Nafahu. Runs himself into a bit of a cul-de-sac. Is he going to get an offload? He does. Carrigan, I think, might have touched it. Not that it matters. Fisher Harris then knocks it on. And that'll be all. That's the game. Tigers says make Benji the coach. Surely you want Benji focusing on the Tigers. Rod, good to see you here, but all good that you've got to go. And the sun sets over there in Christchurch. The sky looked magnificent, must be said. 22-10, I think that's okay. I back that. That's a reasonable score reflecting the game. A lot to take out of it for New Zealand, in my opinion. I think the way they dominated the field position and possession was good. The physicality was good. But it's, as I mentioned a few times, it's the first time that this side has played together, especially with all the injuries that the Kiwis have. So 22 points to 10 against a Kangaroos side that are significantly better in quality and have played a game together already. That's not bad. That's not bad. I think they'll take a little bit of confidence out of that. And moving into the game next week against Tonga, as I said, I expect them to win. And I expect that they'll be able to mount a better challenge to the Kangaroos than on the final day. So I will leave it there, ladies and gentlemen, because I've got some things to do myself. I'm working all evening tonight on setting up for Rugby League Live 4 content, so enjoy that. If you haven't seen my latest video, I uploaded it today. Watch it, because it's a good one. I was very proud of it, and I think it's one of the videos that will kind of make you sit back and think, wow, yeah, that's true. Why didn't I think of that? It was bizarre. I was just sitting at my desk one day, as I say in the video, and I had this idea, and I was like, damn, I've got to make a video about this. So yes, thank you all for watching. Thank you for hanging out. As I say, watch my video if you haven't already, and I will see you all later.